Hello, dear subscribers. So, today we're going to discuss the doctrine of Balaam and how it is happening in the present day and at present time. If you may recall, I had previously spoke about how ridiculously easy it is to defile oneself. And if you may recall also, a few days ago, I posted a video about foods that we consume that contain Cinomix. Cinomix is a flavor enhancer added to various foods, and it's made amongst from other ingredients aborted fetal cells. Now, why do they seek to place Cinomix in foods? The intent is clear. They want to defile our temple, the temple of God. We shall come to that shortly. Now, the doctrine of Balaam. So, our main chapters will be taken from Numbers 22 to 24. A very interesting passage here, which I urge you to read. I promise you, these chapters won't be boring. Balaam was apparently a pagan priest in a land filled with polytheistic cultures, but he was to have an encounter with the one true God. The millions of Israelites who had escaped slavery in Egypt had just moved next door to the Moabites. The Moabites were deeply concerned that all of that country's resources would be used up by the immigrants. So King Balak, the king of the Moabites at that time, sought Balaam's help to come to Moab and place a curse on Israel. Unfortunately, Balaam was a sinful prophet. Basically, he was a prophet for hire. At first, he listened when God told him to not go, but the second time he was approached by Moabite officials. God told him to go with Balak's men, but to only do what Yahweh told him. Balaam had no intention of following God's orders. He was greedy. Balaam is referenced 3 times in the New Testament. 2 Peter 2 verse 15 speaks of the way of Balaam, which we shall be discussing, which actually the doctrine of Balaam was, I can tell you right now, it was his instigation, as we read in Numbers chapter 25, the instigation of Israel's intermarriage with Moabite women and submission to their idols, and therefore to get the Israelites to commit idolatry. That would remove God's beneficial influence over the Israelites. Their protection would have been lifted off. It has always been the devil's strategy to defeat God's people through direct attack or subterfuge. Jude 11 also speaks of the error of Balaam, and Revelation chapter 2 verse 14 speaks of the doctrine of Balaam. Even though he was a prophet and God spoke to him, he planned to misuse his prophetic gift for money. He wasn't interested in God's will, and Balaam was hoping God would change his mind and allow him to go to Moab. Don't we sometimes think like that? Thinking that God might change his mind? God allowed Balaam to go, but had a surprise ready. The angel of the Lord stood in the road with a drawn sword. The donkey recognized God's messenger, but Balaam didn't. His eyes were blinded by riches he had coming, for he was promised much. Because he couldn't curse the Israelites and get his financial reward, Balaam introduced an idea to Balak. The doctrine of Balaam was his instigation of Israel's intermarriage with Moabite women and submission to their idols. And that's in Numbers chapter 25 verses 1 to 5. This brought more suffering to the Israelites because God's wrath was upon them then. The devil comes only to steal, kill, and destroy, but we have an advocate, Jesus Christ, who covers us, defends us, and delivers us. We must stand firm in biblical truth to overcome temptation, as Balak was tempted, as Balaam was tempted by Balak's offer. God is holy and desires to make his people holy, as we read in 1 John chapter 4, verse 4. So we need to ask Father God to forgive us for failing to really see Him when our eyes are blinded by idols of entertainment, money, immoral behavior, and a host of other things. We need to listen to Him and His word and follow His instructions in all things, turning away Satan when he tempts us, because it is written, resist the devil and he will flee. So let's we'll read a couple of verses from chapters 22 to 25, but I strongly urge you to read these chapters because, as I said, they are not boring, far from it. And the children of Israel set forward and pitched in the plains of Moab, on the side Jordan by Jericho, and Balak the son of Zippor saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites. And Moab was sore afraid of the people, because they were many, and Moab was distressed because of the children of Israel. So as I explained, millions of Israelites had moved in next door to the Moabites. And Moab said unto the elders of Midian, now shall this company lick up all that are round about us, as the ox licketh up the grass of the field. And Balak, the son of Zippor, was king of the Moabites at that time. He sent messengers therefore unto Balaam, the son of Beor, to Petor, which is by the river of the land of the children of his people, to call him, saying, behold, there is a people come out from Egypt. Behold, they cover the face of the earth, and they abide over against me. So the Moabites were threatened, severely threatened by their presence. Come now, therefore, I pray thee, curse me this people, for they are too mighty for me. Peradventure I shall prevail, that we may smite them, and that I may drive them out of the land. For I wot that he whom thou blessed is blessed, and he whom thou cursest is cursed. And the elders of Moab and the elders of Midian departed with the rewards of divination in their hand. And they came unto Balaam, and spake unto him the words of Balak. And he said unto them, lodge here this night, and I will bring you word again, as the Lord shall bring unto me. And the princes of Moab abode with Balaam. And God came unto Balaam and said, what men are these with thee? And Balaam said unto God, Balak, the son of Zippor, king of Moabite, hath sent unto me, saying, behold, there is a people come out of Egypt, which covereth the face of the earth. Come now, curse me them, peradventure I shall be able to overcome them and drive them out. And God said unto Balaam, thou shalt not go with them, thou shalt not curse the people, for they are blessed. And Balaam rose up in the morning and said unto the princes of Balak, get you into your land, for the Lord refuseth to give me leave to go with you. So that's clear up to there. Do you understand? And the princes of Moab rose up, and they went unto Balak and said, Balaam refuseth to come with us. And Balak sent yet again princes more and more honorable than they. And they came to Balaam and said to him, thus saith Balak, the son of Zippor, let nothing, I pray thee, hinder thee from coming unto me, for I will promote thee with very great honor, and I will do whatsoever thou sayest unto me. Come therefore, I pray thee, curse me this people. And Balaam answered and said unto the servants of Balak, if Balak would give me his house full of silver and gold, I cannot go beyond the word of the Lord my God to do less or more. Now therefore I pray you, tarry ye also here this night, that I may know what the Lord will say unto me more. And God came unto Balaam at night and said unto him, If the men came to call thee, rise up and go with them, but yet the word which I shall say unto thee, that shalt thou do. So the Lord gave him permission to go with the princes, which Balak sent, but Balaam was to utter only what God told him to. And Balaam rose up in the morning and saddled his ass and went with the princes of Moab. And God's anger was kindled because he went. And the angel of the Lord stood in the way for an adversary against him. Now he was riding upon his ass, and his 2 servants were with him. And the ass saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way, and his sword drawn in his hand. And the ass turned aside out of the way, and went into the field. And Balaam smote the ass to turn her into the way. But the angel of the Lord stood in a part of the vineyards, a wall being on this side and a wall on that side. And when the ass saw the angel of the Lord, she thrust herself unto the wall, and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall, and he smote her again. And the angel of the Lord went further and stood in a narrow place, where was no way to turn either to the right hand or to the left. And when the ass saw the angel of the Lord, she fell down under Balaam. And Balaam's anger was kindled, and he smote the ass with a staff. But the Lord opened the mouth of the ass, and she said unto Balaam, What have I done unto thee, that thou hast smitten me these 3 times? And Balaam said unto the ass, Because thou hast mocked me, I would there were a sword in mine hand, for now would I kill thee. And the ass said unto Balaam, Am not I thine ass, upon which thou hast ridden ever since I was thine unto this day? Would I ever want to do so unto thee? And he said, Nay. Then the Lord opened the eyes of Balaam, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way, and his sword drawn in his hand, and he bowed down his head and fell flat on his face. And the angel of the Lord said unto him, Wherefore hast thou smitten thine ass these 3 times? Behold, I went out to withstand thee, because thy way is perverse before me. And the ass saw me, and turned from me these 3 times. Unless she had turned from me, surely now also I had slain thee, and saved her alive. And Balaam said unto the angel of the Lord, I have sinned, for I knew not that thou stoodest in the way against me. Now therefore it is, if it displease thee, I will get back again. And the angel of the Lord said unto Balaam, Go with the men, but only the word that I shall speak unto thee, that thou shalt speak. So Balaam went with the princes of Balak. And when Balaam heard that Balak heard that Balaam was come, he went out to meet him unto a city of Moab, which is in the border of Arnon, which is in the utmost coast. And Balak said unto Balaam, Did I not earnestly send unto thee to call thee? Wherefore comest thou not unto me? Am I not able indeed to promote thee to honor? And Balaam said unto Balak, Lo, I am come unto thee. Have I now any power at all to say anything? The word that God put it in my mouth, that shall I speak. And Balaam went on with Balak, and they came unto Kijat Huzot. And Balak offered oxen and sheep, and sent to Balaam, and to the princes that were with him. And it came to pass on the morrow, that Balak took Balaam, and brought him up into the high places of Baal, that thence he might see the utmost part of the people. And Balaam said unto Balak, Build me here 7 altars, and prepare me here 7 oxen, and 7 rams. And Balak did as Balaam had spoken, and Balak and Balaam offered on every altar a bullock and a ram. So I'm going to skip a few verses here. So I'm going down to verse 8. How shall I curse, whom God hath not cursed? Or how shall I defy, whom the Lord hath not defied? Who can count the dust of Jacob and the number of the fourth part of Israel? Let me die the death of the righteous, and let my last end be like this. And Balak said unto Balaam, What hast thou done unto me? I took thee to curse mine enemies, and behold, thou hast blessed them altogether. And he answered and said, Must I not take heed to speak that which the Lord hath put in my mouth? And Balak said unto him, Come, I pray thee, with me unto another place, from whence thou mayest see them. Thou shalt see but the utmost part of them, and shalt not see them all, and curse me them from thence, as if it was going to make a difference. So they made an offering again upon 7 altars. And this is what Balaam said, God is not a man that he should lie, neither the Son of Man that he should repent. Hate he said, and shall he not do it? Or hate he spoken, and shall he not make it good? Behold, I have received commandment to bless, and he hath blessed, and I cannot reverse it. So how is the way of Balaam prevalent today? Balaam's current day, evil powers that be, will do anything to defile us, Christians, whose bodies are the living temples of God. As we read in 1 Corinthians 3, verses 16 to 17, they are attempting to defile us by adding aborted fetal tissue in various foods. Synomics. Please refer to my previous video, which is 3 minutes long, about synomics. And it's titled, Are You Consuming These Products? Something to that effect. And through the abomination that can be injected, inhaled, and also transmitted transdermally, which means across the skin, it can enter into the body, the temple of God. And again, taking a blood transfusion by those who have taken it, or having indeed sexual intercourse with a spouse who took it, or were still bearing genetically modified offspring. These are all abominations in the eyes of the Lord. Now, we skip to Numbers chapter 24. And in verse 2 we read, And Balaam lifted up his eyes, and he saw Israel abiding in his tents, according to their tribes, and the Spirit of God came upon him. And he took up his parable and said, Balaam the son of Beor hath said, and the men whose eyes are open hath said, he hath said, which heard the words of God, which saw the vision of the Almighty, falling into a trance and having his eyes open. How goodly are thy tents, O Jacob, and thy tabernacles, O Israel. As the valleys are they spread forth, as gardens by the river's side, as the trees of linealoes which the Lord had planted, and the cedar trees beside the waters. And in verse 9 he couched, he lay down as a lion and as a great lion. Who shall stir him up? Blessed is he that blesseth thee, and cursed is he that curseth thee. That's referring to Israel. Whoever blesses Israel is blessed, and whoever curses Israel is cursed. And Balak's anger was kindled against Balaam, and he smote his hands together. And Balak said unto Balaam, I called thee to curse mine enemies, and behold, thou hast altogether blessed them, these 3 times. Therefore now flee thou to thy place. I thought to promote thee unto great honor, but lo, the Lord hath kept thee back from honor. And Balaam said unto Balak, Spake I not also to thy messengers, which thou sentest unto me, saying, If Balak would give me his house full of silver and gold, I cannot go beyond the commandment of the Lord, to do either good or bad of mine own mind. But what the Lord saith, that will I speak. And then this happens in chapter 25. And Israel abode in Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab upon the instigation of Balaam, where he instigated that the Israelites should intermarry with Moabite women and submit to their idols. That was the straw that literally broke the camel's back. And the Lord's wrath was then upon Israel. And this applies to current day. So here is an incident in verse 6 where an Israelite takes a Moabitess, a woman from Moab. And behold, one of the children of Israel came and brought unto his brethren a Midianitish women. Now she was from Midian, not Moab, but they were pagans nonetheless, in the sight of Moses, and in the sight of all the congregation of the children of Israel, who were weeping before the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And when Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, saw it, he rose up from among the congregation and took a javelin in his hand. You may recall that that cartoon called Phineas and Ferb. That is where they got the name Phineas. They seek to mock the Bible by naming this character in that cartoon as Phineas. He was a cartoon character that almost never spoke, and he was the brother of Ferb, and Ferb did all the talking. But I digress. Verse 8, and he went after the men of Israel into the tent, and thrust both of them through, the men of Israel and the woman through her belly. So the plague was stayed from the children of Israel, and those that died in the plague were 24,000. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, hath turned my wrath away from the children of Israel, while he was zealous for my sake among them, that I consumed not the children of Israel in my jealousy. Wherefore say, Behold, I give unto him my covenant of peace. So this is, as it were, Phinehas, the son of Aaron the priest, nipped the sting in the bud. Well, you could hardly say nipped it in the bud, because those that died in the plague were 24,000, but he put an end to it. He put a stop to it. That they were not to bring in pagan women, that they were not to mix with pagan women. Now the name of the Israelite that was slain, even that was slain with the Midianitish woman, was Zimri, the son of Salu, a prince of the chief house among the Simeonites. And the name of the Midianitish woman that was slain was Cosbi, the daughter of Zur. He was head over a people and of a chief house in Midian. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Vex the Midianites, and smite them, for they vex you with their wiles, wherewith they have beguiled you in the matter of Peor, which we know through Balaam, and in the matter of Cosbi, the daughter of a prince of Midian, their sister, which was slain in the day of the plague for Peor's sake. So this parallel today is happening. This is happening today. They are attempting to defile us in every possible manner, through food, water, things injected into us, things placed on our skin, skin products, skin patches, transdermal patches, things that are inhaled. They are intent, and they are intent on defiling us. You have to be vigilant. You have to be watchful. And you have to pray daily for repentance and pray over your food, lest it might contain something that will defile you. I will leave you with that thought. I hope you all have a blessed day. God bless you all.